Mr. Dak Cruz ended the call with a broad grin, visibly elated. Utilizing my expertise, I've seamlessly orchestrated the transfer of over $10 million across 4 nations, and through a network of 12 banks, effectively cleansing his funds and shielding him from governmental scrutiny. I go by the name Andrew Cardo, renowned and revered for my adeptness in capital movement, asset concealment, and safeguarding clients from legal entanglements. I make it a point never to inquire about the origins of the funds I handle. Nor do I meddle in my clients' affairs, safeguarding myself against federal scrutiny while upholding my moral integrity. Though I'm aware of my clients' less than legal enterprises, I adhere to the principle, don't ask and you won't be misled. My lucrative endeavors have afforded me a diverse portfolio, including 16 bank accounts spanning 8 nations, 10 cryptocurrency wallets, and 10 cryptocurrencies, and a company that manages my assets, sustains my lifestyle and assumes all financial responsibilities. Drawing a modest $50,000 annual salary from the company, earmarked for unforeseen expenses, ensures my financial stability while maintaining a low profile to evade civil litigations, lawsuits, or marital disputes. While many clients express their gratitude by offering lavish getaways or protection, I've refrained from accepting such tokens of appreciation thus far. However, my current circumstances have led me to seek assistance with surveillance, protection, and certain enforcement matters. My associates in the business world were eager to lend a hand, expressing gratitude for the services I've provided them. Meanwhile, my wife Ree views me solely as a financial advisor, a role I professionally fulfill with certification. She's unaware of the extent of my earnings, assets, or offshore accounts. Ree is content with the knowledge that the company covers our $5 million property mortgages, vehicle expenses, and daily expenditures. She has never delved deeper, leading a life of leisure, enjoying annual upgrades to luxury cars and an unlimited budget for shopping and entertainment. For the past 5 years of our marriage, I believed Reese to be genuinely happy, relishing our time together. Our intimate life was fulfilling with passionate encounters several nights a week. In the bedroom, she was adventurous and knew how to ignite my desires, reciprocating the pleasure I provided. Our relationship seemed like a blissful union of fun, fantasy, and love akin to paradise. However, unbeknownst to me, a tempest loomed on the horizon, threatening to shatter this paradise. And now, at 30, she exudes the allure of a dream trophy wife with her voluptuous curves, captivating blue eyes, and radiant blonde locks. Despite the constant attention from men, she remains steadfast, proudly displaying her marital status with her engagement and 3-carat diamond rings. Prior to our marriage, I learned of her college romance with a man named Jackson Winters, whom she deeply loved, but who chose a different path, enlisting in the Marines. Their relationship faded as Jackson pursued his military career. Now, 8 years later, Jackson's return to our city has resurrected Reese's lingering affection for him. Upon Jackson's return from his 2 tours, he naturally reconnected with old acquaintances, including my wife, Ree. Long under his spell, Ree provided him with her cell phone number after he obtained it from a mutual friend. Soon, Jackson initiated frequent texts and calls, attempting to arrange meetings reminiscent of old times. About 6 weeks ago, Reese's behavior began to shift, seemingly weighed down by guilt over her clandestine communications with Jackson. While the sudden surge in attention and the introduction of new sexual dynamics into our relationship were initially enjoyable, they struck me as uncharacteristic of Reese's usual demeanor. Sensing a change in Ree, I decided to closely monitor her actions. During a weekend barbecue, a friend casually mentioned Jackson's return to town, coinciding with the alterations in Reese's behavior. Acting swiftly, I confided in one of my business contacts, informing him of the situation and the potential need for assistance. Eager to reciprocate for the wealth I had generated for him and the legal safeguards I had provided, he swiftly mobilized resources. In no time, I received a comprehensive dossier on Jackson Winters, spanning his entire life, from birth certificate to military service records. Additionally, I was furnished with daily transcripts of his text messages, revealing a flurry of over 15 exchanges with my wife each day. Though initially benign, the tone of their interactions swiftly turned lascivious. While I was relieved to see Ree rebuffing his advances initially, my apprehension mounted as her resistance waned, succumbing to his persistent flirtations. As Jackson's pursuit intensified over 4 weeks, he eventually succeeded in arranging a lunch meeting with Ree despite my mounting anger and apprehension about the unfolding situation. The audacity of the man. He had the gall to request that Reese wear something provocative for their rendezvous, citing how much he missed her. To my dismay, not only did she comply, but she even entertained the idea of foregoing her underwear, reminiscing about past encounters. My anger boiled over, reaching a level of intensity I hadn't experienced in years. Seeking counsel from my business associates, we devised a plan to confront this individual. It was agreed that I would meet them in person during their lunch date with backup nearby for protection if necessary. With the help of my friend's surveillance team, we had precise details of their meeting time and location. Stepping into the restaurant, I found them tucked away in a secluded corner. Ree, dressed provocatively in a low-cut dress without a bra, only fueled my anger further. They sat closely together, their backs to the rest of the restaurant, looking comfortable in each other's presence. As I approached, I noticed one of my bodyguards shadowing me. Taking a seat across from them, I greeted Ree casually, though anger simmered beneath the surface. "Hey, Ree," I began, my gaze fixed on her. "Aren't you going to introduce me to your friend?" Jackson seemed puzzled while Reese wore a conflicted expression of shock and guilt, their hands intertwined on the table. It was evident that Ree had realized the gravity of the situation, attempting to retract her hand from Jackson's grasp, only to find it held firmly. His smug grin revealed his belief that she was now firmly on his side. This brazen individual showed no signs of backing down. "Honey, meet Jackson Winters." Reese nervously introduced her, anxiety palpable. Jackson, however, remained silent, finding amusement in the situation. His smirk conveying a sense of superiority, as if to say, "I've got your wife, and there's nothing you can do about it." Without delay, I addressed Ree, striving to maintain composure amidst the tension. "I hate to interrupt your dinner, but I need to speak with my wife privately for a moment. Would you mind stepping away?" Reluctantly, Jackson released her hand and exited the booth, allowing Ree to follow. Standing between Jackson and me, Reese appeared apprehensive, clutching her purse to her chest as I led her towards the back of the restaurant. She walked silently, her guilt and nervousness evident. Once inside the empty men's room, I confronted her. "You're not wearing a bra and your attire is provocative to say the least. This is disrespectful to me. What's going on?" She stood there, tears welling up, unable to respond. In a moment of frustration, I lifted her dress, confirming my worst fears. Shock turned to anger as I forced her to face her reflection, exposed without panties. "No panties? Is this how you behave when I'm not around?" I demanded, my voice rising with each word. "This is unacceptable, Ree." "Explain yourself," she protested, hastily, covering herself. "No, it's not what it seems. I have an explanation. I promise," she pleaded, her words tinged with desperation. In a tone that was unfamiliar. Deep and authoritative, I addressed Ree with deliberate emphasis on each word. "Clearly, we need to have a discussion. If you have any intention of salvaging our marriage, you'll heed my instructions. Otherwise, don't bother returning home because our relationship will be over. Right now, you'll grab your purse, walk out of here without a backward glance at your companion. You'll head straight to your car, drive home, set up the coffee pot, and await my return. I'll be no more than 10 minutes behind you until we've had a chance to talk. Refrain from contacting your boyfriend or anyone else. I'll be speaking with him to explain your abrupt departure." Observing her avoidance of eye contact, it was apparent she harbored guilt over being caught in such a compromising situation. "One more thing," I added sternly. "When you get home, don't change out of that dress. I expect you to remain in the same attire as now. Failure to comply means you won't be welcomed back tonight. I'll contact you later to discuss our next steps." As I watched Reese leave, a sense of disbelief washed over me. When Jackson approached, relieved to find him safe and no longer in the military, a flood of memories resurfaced. He was my first love, and it had taken me years to move on after he departed. Though our romantic feelings had long faded, thoughts of him lingered. Yet, despite these emotions, I knew my love for Andrew remained unwavering. He had been the love of my life since we met. I never want to cause Andrew pain or jeopardize our relationship, which is why this situation is so distressing. Damn it! Jackson knew exactly how to push my buttons with his flirting and suggestive remarks that always managed to reel me in like a knave school drill. I despise how powerless I felt against his charm. Despite my attempts to resist, his persistent advances and explicit messages gradually wore down my defenses until I reluctantly agreed to meet him for lunch. Engaging in conversation with him filled me with guilt and remorse. I knew I should have informed Andrew about Jackson's return and our interactions. But I kept it hidden, a decision I now deeply regret. Jackson has a way of making me question where I belong, convincing me that I'm meant to be with him. When he suggested I wear something alluring, I foolishly consented, fully aware of the impropriety. The temptation to indulge in a fleeting moment of nostalgia overwhelmed my better judgment. Why did I even suggest going without panties? Am I truly that shallow and thoughtless? Yes, Jackson had always discouraged me from wearing them during our past encounters. And his invitation to lunch stirred up old memory, clouding my judgment. Despite feeling consumed by guilt, a text from Jackson reignited my resolve to meet him, rationalizing it as harmless nostalgia. As we crossed paths in the restaurant, a rush of desire swept over me. There was an undeniable chemistry between us, and Jackson appeared more enticing than ever. His years in the Marines had sculpted him into a specimen of raw masculinity, igniting a primal attraction within me. My cheeks flushed as he kissed me and led me to a secluded booth. Reminiscent of our past encounters, we laughed and reminisced, momentarily lost in the illusion of a bygone era. For a fleeting moment, I felt a surge of happiness and excitement in his presence. When he held my hand on the table, I felt a fleeting sense of security and warmth. But our reverie was abruptly shattered when Andrew materialized before us. His expression a chilling mixture of amusement and malice. Without warning, he took a seat across from us, his unsettling grin sending shivers down my spine. My heart sank as I grasped the gravity of the situation and the appearance of impropriety. Witnessing Andrew's gaze shift downward to find us holding hands shattered my world. In his eyes, I saw a mixture of pain and fury. And all I wanted was to erase his anguish, to hold him close and reassure him of my love. Never had I intended to inflict such hurt upon Andrew. Yet here I was unwittingly causing him immense pain. The man I cherished, my partner of 5 years, now regarded me with disdain. His trust shattered by the sight of me intertwined with another man, a figure from my past. Stunned and speechless, I sat frozen, grappling with the overwhelming sense of guilt and remorse. When Andrew expressed his desire to speak with me, my heart sank, anticipating the end of our relationship. As he led me into the men's room, apprehension gnawed at me. And when he lifted my dress to reveal my lack of undergarments, I felt a wave of humiliation wash over me. I could only imagine the thoughts racing through his mind. And in that moment, I felt like a fallen, unfaithful wife. His instructions to return home and await his arrival resonated with a tone of authority that left me shaken to my core. I knew I had to comply, to salvage our marriage and clarify my actions to him. I resolved to accept whatever consequences awaited me, desperate to repair the damage I had caused. However, when he mentioned confronting Jackson alone, fear gripped me. Jackson's physical stature and military training posed a threat to Andrew's safety. And I was torn between wanting to warn him and obeying Andrew's directives. Attempting to apologize, I was met with Andrew's stern command to go home. His tone leaving no room for argument. His decision for me to remain in my current attire signified the seriousness of the situation, and I realized the magnitude of the challenge ahead in explaining my actions. How did I allow myself to be swayed by Jackson's persuasion? I never intended for him to become a part of my life again. I simply sought to reminisce and enjoy some harmless fun. Yet, from Andrew's perspective, it must have appeared as though I was on the verge of betraying him. Damn it all! How can I possibly mend this mess? Each step I took through the restaurant felt like an eternity under the scrutiny of judgmental eyes. I couldn't bring myself to glance at Jackson, knowing he'd be questioning my sudden departure. It took several minutes of tearful contemplation before I could even muster the strength to drive home. The journey feeling interminable. The agony etched on Andrew's face replayed in my mind, intensifying my anguish. How could I have inflicted such pain upon him? It's unbelievable how easily I let Jackson manipulate me, and now I'm left grappling with the consequences of my own foolishness. Arriving home, I mechanically set up the coffee pot, my mind consumed by thoughts of Andrew's conversation with Jackson. How long would it be before Andrew returned? Would he unleash his anger upon me? Can our marriage be salvaged? I need it to be. I can't fathom living without Andrew, and he needs to understand that he's the sole love of my life. Desperate for reassurance, I returned to the table and engaged in conversation with Jackson. It seems Ree won't be returning, I remarked, determined to assert myself. I wanted to have a chat with you. You must realize that Ree still harbors feelings for you and is easily influenced as evidenced by today and the past few weeks. However, she is married to me and I refuse to share her affections. I'd not want to assert control or act recklessly. So today, I'll offer Reese a choice. Stay in our marriage or leave me for you. But she cannot have both. She must make this decision independently, free from your influence. May the best man win. If she chooses you, then so be it. But if she decides to remain in our marriage, she must cease all contact with you. If you don't hear from her today, I expect you to refrain from contacting her ever again. Do you understand what I'm saying? I asserted firmly. Listen, dude. I'll call or text her whenever I want. She's a grown woman capable of making her own decisions. She doesn't belong to you. Jackson retorted, his smirk undeterred. I can guarantee one thing. She'll be with me again eventually. She can't resist the memories of our past encounters. Sorry, but you'll have to learn to live with it. Oh, Jackson, I hope you'll see reason, I replied, maintaining my composure. You're a handsome, muscular guy. There are plenty of single women out there who would be interested in you. Why can't men like you leave married women alone? You may think you know everything, but you underestimate me. I continued, locking eyes with him. You see, Jackson, you have no idea about my profession or the connections I have. That, my friend, is your first mistake. I know all about you and your actions. How are your parents, Michael and Ingrid? They adore their two dogs, Casey and Mickey, don't they? It's been over 4 years since you last saw your sister, Kate and Austin. Her 3 daughters are growing up fast and would love to see their Uncle Jackson. And did you know that your best friend, Billy's girlfriend, is pregnant with a boy? She hasn't told him yet, but I'm sure he'll be thrilled. I've read all your text messages to Reese, and I must say you're quite persistent. Now, Jackson, I continued, a grin spreading across my face. You may be a formidable presence, but the associates I have in my line of work are ruthless and owe me a great deal. Like you said, she may have trouble resisting you, but tonight we'll find out who the better man truly is. Raze will have a choice. She can choose to be with you and leave our marriage. And if that's what she decides, I'll respect her decision and wish you both the best. I refuse to share her, and I won't remain with a woman who desires another man. It'll hurt, but I'd rather let her go now and move on. On the flip side, if Raze decides to remain faithful, there will be adjustments for her after today's incident with you. Your actions have severely damaged my trust, and rebuilding it will require time and effort. As for you, if she chooses to stay with me, you must end all contact with her. This includes no texts, emails, calls, or communication through mutual friends. You will disappear from her life completely. If you happen to see her in public, you will walk away without speaking. If you're at the same event, you will excuse yourself and leave. There will be no secret attempts to contact her, as the consequences will be severe. Your loved ones will suffer from your recklessness. Do you understand the seriousness of my words? Do you understand how serious I am? Jackson sat there visibly stunned, unsure of how to respond. How do you know so much about my family and my life? He finally managed to stammer out. As I said, I have associates indebted to me, and they are not individuals you want to cross paths with. I replied evenly. Appearances can be deceiving, Jackson. There's more to me than meets the eye. Are you truly offering her a chance to leave me for you? He asked incredulously. I am a man of my word, I affirmed. If she were any other woman, her actions today would have warranted immediate consequences. But I love Ree, and I am willing to give her one chance and one chance only. If you are correct in your assumption that she cannot resist you, then by midnight tonight, she will contact you and you'll have your answer. Alternatively, she can choose to honor her wedding vows and remain my faithful wife. If she stays with me, you will be dead to her, and you will no longer meddle in our marriage. I trust you'll keep your word and allow us to live in peace, Jackson retorted confidently. She has expressed her desire to be with me, and I have no doubt she'll follow through. With a sense of finality, I rose from my seat. I hope to never hear your name again or be forced into actions I'd rather not take, I stated firmly. But we'll soon see. As I made my exit, a figure lurking in the shadows rose, shooting Jackson a lingering furious glare before departing mere moments after me. Jackson received a message alerting him to the presence of my bodyguard, a detail that may have caused him to reassess his perception of me as a docile, unsuspecting husband. During the drive home, my mind swirled with uncertainty, pondering whether the woman I cherished would ever grace our bed again. Would she forsake our union for him, or would she remain steadfast in her commitment to our vows? Upon entering the house, an eerie silence enveloped the air. Reese sat at the kitchen table, her demeanor fraught with nervous tension as tears welled in her eyes, pouring myself a cup of coffee. I took a seat opposite her, the weight of my emotions palpable in the room. Ree, I know everything, including your text exchanges with Jackson. I began, preempting any questions about my knowledge. Before you attempt to explain, understand that I have associates from my professional circles who only favors individuals you'd be wise not to cross paths with. Now, I recognize your remorse, but it holds little significance to me at present, I continued. My voice steady, but tinged with disappointment. Your actions today were a betrayal of my trust and a display of disrespect towards our marriage. I refuse to coexist with a spouse who lacks regard for our vows and the sanctity of our union. In some circles, infidelity is narrowly defined as physical intimacy with another person. But in my world, the mere suggestion of emotional or physical involvement with another man constitutes a breach of trust. I asserted, each word weighed with gravity. Your flirtatious exchanges with Jackson, the provocative attire sans undergarments, and the public display of affection. All of these individually and collectively constitute a form of betrayal. While physical infidelity may not have occurred, the breach of trust is just as profound. I stated firmly, my gaze unwavering. Know this, I will never tolerate infidelity, and I refuse to share you with anyone. Our marriage hinges on mutual respect and fidelity, and I will not compromise on these principles. I comprehend the bond you shared with Jackson, and I acknowledge that remnants of those feelings may still linger within you. Nevertheless, you are committed to me in marriage, and I am resolute in my stance. I will not allow you to be shared with him or anyone else. Despite the gravity of your actions, I have not cast you aside because my love for you is unwavering, and I have determined to fight for us. However, before we proceed, I need to pose a question, and I implore you to answer truthfully, as I may already be aware of the truth. While you were seated with him, sans undergarments, did he make any physical advances toward you? Has anyone besides me ever crossed that boundary within our marriage? No. I swear it never happened. No one has ever dared to do such a thing. Only you, she replied earnestly, tears streaming down her face. But you were willing to entertain the possibility today, weren't you? I pressed gently, her head bowed further as she sobbed. I don't know. I didn't intend for any of this to happen. I'm so sorry, Andrew. I've been foolish. Please forgive me for my folly. If he had laid a hand on you, our conversation would be at its end. I remarked sternly. However, it seems aside from some harmless gestures and text exchanges, nothing transpired to warrant the end of our marriage, though your actions have deeply disappointed me. Now tell me, why did you choose to wear that provocative dress? Be honest with me. Did you have intentions of seducing him and succumbing to his advances? I inquired, my tone unwavering yet tinged with sadness. Oh, Andrew, no. I would never do such a thing, she protested vehemently. It's difficult to articulate, but I simply wanted to feel desirable and reminisce about past emotions. I realize now how foolish and selfish I've been. But Jackson has a way of persuading me. I never harbored any intentions of betraying you. You must believe me, Ree. I want to believe you, I said softly, my gaze searching hers. But your actions today prompt a serious inquiry, one that demands an honest answer. I've made it clear that I won't share you with another man. Nor will I be tethered to a woman who harbors feelings for someone else. Therefore, I offer you a choice. Reflect deeply on it. For once made, there will be no room for betrayal or disrespect. Despite understanding your love for me and your past with Jackson, I present you with a decision. Jackson or our marriage. If you choose to be with him, I will release you. I'll ensure a fair division in our divorce and both of you will be safe from any retaliation. Alternatively, you can remain in our marriage, stay faithful to me, and uphold your wedding vows. It's a straightforward choice, but one with significant ramifications. If you've opted for Jackson, I'll expect you to vacate the house by the weekend with your belongings, and I'll initiate divorce proceedings promptly. However, if you choose to stay married, you must sever all ties with Josh today, tomorrow, and forever. He'll be dead to you, and you'll abide by the same conditions I outlined to him regarding our encounters. Do you understand and agree to these terms? She nodded, her eyes resolute. Yes, Andrew, I understand and I agree without hesitation. Today, Ree, you hold a get-out-of-jail card. One opportunity that arises once in a lifetime. You must now decide between your former lover and your devoted husband. I'm going to take a shower, and when I return, I expect your decision. Choose wisely, I reiterated before leaving the kitchen. As I showered and dressed, I contemplated the weight of her decision. When I returned to the kitchen, she rushed to me, embracing me tightly and showering me with kisses. "Andrew, I'll never leave you. And I'll never repeat today's mistake. I promise to make amends and be the ideal wife. I want to build a life with you, and I long for our future together. You're the only man I desire," she professed earnestly amidst tears. Her words resonated deep within me, stirring a blend of emotions. While forgiveness wasn't immediate, her commitment to making amends offered hope for reconciliation. "Reese, your actions today hurt me deeply, and rebuilding trust won't be simple. But if you're willing to work on it and show your sincerity, maybe we can mend our marriage," I replied, pulling her close. "Let's take it one step at a time, and together we'll weather the storm." "I love you," she whispered tearfully, embracing me tightly. We shared a passionate kiss, reuniting our souls, and I carried her to our bed, reclaiming my wife with a mix of longing and frustration. As we made love, she surrendered herself to me completely, whispering words of love amid our shared passion. We lingered in each other's arms, finding solace in the intimacy we had briefly lost. The next day, Jackson's frustration was palpable. "Damn it, she didn't reach out to me. I guess she chose to stay with that idiot," he muttered to himself, grappling with the unexpected outcome. "I thought we had something real. If only I had convinced her to join me that day, she would have left Andrew in a heartbeat. But I'm not giving up just yet. I'll find a way to get her back." Days later, Jackson's persistence reached a new level as he attempted to lure Ree away with text messages. However, Ree showed me the messages, demonstrating a newfound transparency in our relationship. I commended her for her honesty and assured her that rebuilding trust was a step-by-step process. Then, I reached out to Jackson, simply reminding him of the consequences of his actions. When he realized that his parents' beloved pets had disappeared temporarily, his panic was evident. "What have you done?" he exclaimed, his threats laden with fear and frustration. I maintained my composure, delivering a stern warning. "Jackson, you've crossed a line, and now you must face the consequences. If you ever attempt to contact Ree again, the repercussions will be severe. Consider this your final warning." With a clear message delivered, I awaited his response, ensuring that Ree's safety and our marriage remained uncompromised. "Jackson, because you disregarded my warnings, I'll take whatever actions I deem necessary, and you'll have to face the consequences. Now, given your threatening tone, I haven't decided if the dogs will return unharmed or if they'll return at all. Your attitude doesn't inspire mercy in me. In fact, I'm considering whether they'll return at all. How does that sound, Jackson? Should I inform your parents about their missing pets? Maybe I should give them a call. What do you think about that?" "Okay, I'm sorry. Please bring them back and I'll stay away. I promise." "That's better. But remember, next time it won't be the dogs disappearing. Do you understand?" "Understood. I promise to stay out of her life and you won't hear from me again." "When will they be back?" "They'll be home soon, Jackson. But I want to remind you I'm not right there, so I can't control everything. The people I'm dealing with have their own minds, but I'll speak to them and see what can be done. I hope we never have to have a conversation like this again because next time the consequences will be much more severe." 3 nights later, Jackson's parents rejoiced as their beloved pets returned. They never knew what had happened, and Jackson heard the news with relief. He even sent me a brief message saying, "Thank you." Jackson realized the seriousness of the situation, stayed away from Ree, and found a job in another city. He attempted to gather information about me, but hit a dead end. Realizing that details about me were closely garnered, 2 weeks after the incident, I presented Reese with a postnuptial agreement prepared by my lawyer. In it, she agreed to forfeit everything, including rights to any children born during our marriage in case of infidelity. While it couldn't prevent a recurrence of her encounter with Jackson, it provided enough incentive for her to consider the consequences. With my renewed focus on our relationship, her realization of my constant vigilance, and the post-nuptial agreement, we were prepared to face any challenges that lay ahead. A year later, Ree became pregnant with our first child, and our bond grew stronger than ever. She recognized the dangers she had brought upon our marriage and dedicated herself to making me happy and building our family. Jackson's name was never mentioned again, and it seemed as though he had never existed. What could have shattered our lives forever was averted by Andrew's love and resolve. Second story. It has been 5 weeks since the end of my 6-year relationship with my girlfriend, and the pain still feels raw. Discovering her infidelity with a coworker, a repetition of past betrayals, shattered my world once again. Despite the passage of time, healing feels elusive. Some days, the anguish is overwhelming. The reminders of her presence linger. Her mail still arrives, detailing her visits to a laser hair removal clinic, a gesture she never made for me. I witnessed changes in her grooming habits and physique. All efforts directed towards someone else. I uprooted my life for her, relocating to be nearer to her family. I shouldered financial responsibilities, tended to pets, procured the home she desired, and accommodated her preferences for vacations. I cooked every evening, managed household chores, and pursued further education to improve our circumstances. Yet, despite my efforts fueled by love, I received betrayal in return. In my quest for healing, I've embraced constructive habits, exercising diligently, journaling, and maintaining responsibilities at work and home. Yet, while I endure the ache, she seemingly revels in her newfound happiness. The betrayal has left me feeling undeserving of love, questioning whether I'll ever find companionship again. My reflection betrays a sense of inadequacy. Robbed of confidence and direction. Losing not just a partner, but also my closest friend has left me adrift. Staring into the mirror, I'm confronted with a stranger. Uncertainty clouds my aspirations and identity, leaving me directionless. I shoulder blame for her infidelity, entertaining thoughts of what I could have done differently. The what-ifs torment me, although I recognize their futility. Pondering a hypothetical future, I contemplate the prospect of love anew, yet scarred by betrayal. I wonder if I'll recognize it or be consumed by fear of history repeating itself. Approaching 30, I envisioned building a family with her. Now that dream feels shattered, eclipsed by the daunting task of self-restoration. My faith in love and trust lies fractured, overshadowed by the void left by her absence. Decisions once made as a duo now confront me alone, revealing the extent of my dependency. Though my love for her remains steadfast, conflicting desires arise, to yearn for her return or to forge a new path without her. Confronting my own vulnerability, I acknowledge past weakness, resolving to chart a stronger course ahead. Any guidance offered during this tumultuous period would be deeply appreciated. Third story. Is it reasonable to assume that all women will eventually cheat? Recently encountered this situation within my marriage. This was with someone who shared the same religious beliefs on infidelity within a marriage and the consequences for doing so. This was with someone who used to get so excited whenever we were around each other that she would get butterflies. Someone who wanted marriage with me more so than I wanted with her in the beginning. I eventually bought in and we made it happen. Married after a couple of years of being with each other. And within a few months into our marriage, she confessed to me that she had cheated. I've seen a lot of content where people are in a situation and a woman begs for forgiveness in which it's clearly the woman only sorry she got caught. However, in situation, her confession and apology seemed to be genuine. Afterwards, each time I saw her, there was nothing but regret and shamefulness seen in her eyes. I found myself wondering how a woman who wanted this so much could end up in this situation. Is it just in a woman's nature to cheat? Thanks for joining us on this chapter of Relation Tales. If you were moved by these stories, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Don't miss out on the upcoming emotional roller coaster of relationships. Your support means the world, and we can't wait to share more compelling tales with you. Until next time, remember, every relationship has a story worth telling. See you soon.